real quick, everybody listening, we are gathered here today because Alan mistook Stan Van Gundy for Jeff Van Gundy. Um,
Whoa, whoa.
I mean, that's the main
Stop that,
reason.
bro.
But we're here to talk about, Stan Van Gundy getting signed to becoming the new head coach for the Pelicans. That is the main reason we're here. All right, that's it. Get back to it, y'all. Talking about something about what was it? The Zion was basically a 6'6" Dwight Howard or something else.
Okay, so the whole thing is this: Allen was upset, or he wasn't upset. Allen had hesitancies because he thought at first that
Confused.
are you what do you do right now?
I'm advocating for myself.
Let me quiet down while I talk. So Allen had hesitancies because he mistook the information being Jeff Van Gundy instead of Stan Van Gundy, which for a man who's been following basketball only since like what 2008, 2007, actively, I don't even know. You never saw Jeff coach, so I don't even know why you would get that mistake in the first place, but you did. And my whole thing is like you had hesitancies, but with him not, but with you not seeing this man coach in his prime, quote unquote, how would you have hesitancies? Uh, because like from what you know, he coached the Knicks or assistant
Yeah,
coach the Knicks.
and what you how you feel about Stan. We're not here to talk about this off-screen thing that we did not come here to talk about.
No. We are because the people want to know about us.
We
So,
can do this
so,
off. We're
so
not doing this
listen.
on
No.
wax.
Let me
'Cause
finish
I
this.
just got confused because y'all trying to come at me
I,
about being
I, I just wanted to
confused.
throw it out there. I wasn't trying to start a whole thing.
No, you don't. No, Calvin, you're fine. You're fine. You just said the whole thing. I'm just gonna end this. Real quick. You were like, oh, Jeff hesitancy,
It's
blah, blah,
already been fixed.
it ain't been fixed because you're like Jeff hesitancy, blah blah blah. He coached one of the best big men to ever be in the NBA. And Zion is not a three. He's a big man. He is a stretch five. Essentially, that's what he is. He is a Brook Lopez. All right. Okay, that's so disrespectful. But so
These are
disrespectful.
bad takes.
I
Please stop. Just
no
talk
no no.
about Stan, bro.
Hold on.
Please just talk about Stan.
I am clearly over exaggerating, right? But he is a stretch big man. Like he catches alley oops. He does set up threes, or a modern day, right? Catch alley oops, uh, barely dribbles, only dribbles to one side because he's powerful enough to do that one side. He's Sean Kemp. That's what he is. He's Sean Kemp plus 150 pounds. I don't know the actual weight differential. Or actually, he's Sean Kemp in the later years. Sean Kemp in the later years and Zion right now have the exact same weight. Like that's what that's what Zion is. Zion is a big man. So Jeff Van Gundy, Patrick Ewing. There's no hesitancy there for me personally. There was for you. Now with it actually being Stan Van Gundy, Dwight Howard. Stan Van Gundy coached Dwight Howard in Orlando. Stan Van Gundy always has a positive coaching track, except when he's not only coaching, he's also GMing. That's when things start to teeter in like bad directions for most teams, unless you're Phil Jackson.
How do you feel about Stan Van Gundy taking over the head coaching job?
I mean, I'm more. This is ridiculous. I mean, I'm more optimistic than pessimistic, right? Especially since him being a head coach and just a head coach and not like a GM or whatever it is. But like, there's a few things I'm curious about that like we won't even see until the season starts, right? So one of them being, what do they do with Drew Holiday? They're gonna trade him for pieces, or are they gonna keep him? Right? That's like a team thing. It's not necessarily do it Stan Van Gundy, but more with Stan Van Gundy. Outside of that, is Brandon Ingram. Where will he progress going on to this next season? Right? Like defensively, he needs to progress. Like he's fine defensively, but he needs to become better defensively to become more of a superstar player that he has the capabilities of actually becoming. Right? Two, Zion, health and condition. Because in the bubble, looking heavy, looking a little hefty in the bubble. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, nah, dog. Like That's just gonna, the older you get, that's gonna weigh you down more and more and more. And like, that's his natural body. Look at the picture of him at 18 and or at Duke, and look at him now. It's a little, he's a little big. I know the camera's supposed to add 5 pounds, but my God. But then also to go along with that, Lonzo Ball, right? So like, will Stan Van Gundy allow Lonzo to be the floor general for the team like he was when they were on their winning streaks last year, right? Move the ball off the court, move the ball off the court swiftly. Just trusting him on the floor when to do that kind of stuff and when not to do that kind of stuff, right? Because when he was doing that efficiently and like with no like hesitancies, then especially when Zion was in the team, right? You saw, especially even with a month, 2 weeks before Zion came back, they went on long winning streaks because they were just like, throwing the games, quick tempo, all that kind of stuff, right? And so those are like the things I'm looking forward to when it comes to like seeing how Stan Van Gundy is going to adjust this team specifically. But his impact on Zion is going to be huge. But Zion, off-season development and all that kind of stuff, that's like going to be huge in his own right, because Zion needs to like, the mental. He seems to be mentally strong. He seems to be mentally strong. Like, I'll give him that. But like, keeping with it and making sure you're on a certain level before the season even starts. That's like a different kind of mentality. You know what I mean? And that seems to be the case with him. You know what I mean? He seems to be still like, how like some people would come to the league. Most people, it seems like, come to the league and they get their second year and they got that fat contract and they got their baby mama and they got they don't seem like kids anymore. They're like real grown men. Zion still seems like a guy who like sleeps in his mom's basement. Like Zion still seems like a guy who's like a mama's boy. You know what I mean? Like, and not a bad thing. Like, he seems like the kind of guy that is more focused on who's able to be more focused on those kind of things than like the groupies and the going to the club and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Which is a benefit. That's the way he comes across, and that's the way that it seems, because you never hear about him on TMZ. You know what I mean? So we shall see, but I'm more optimistic than pessimistic when it comes to Stan Man.
Okay. Alan, what are your thoughts?
To answer the Stan question, I don't really have any issues with it, to be honest with you. Like, I like what he did with the Magic with those years, and yes, I know who Stan Van Gundy is, dickheads. But I like what he did with the Magic those years, so
Don't tell me that's it.
That's it. I don't know much. Stan Van Gundy has not coached in what? Like, I don't remember his time in Detroit. I didn't pay attention. I didn't pay attention whatsoever. Detroit didn't perform well. Like, what is there to look at? Like, and I didn't do much research for this. Like, I'm just like, let's see what you got.
Detroit didn't perform well because he was a GM also. I don't understand. Like, when's the last time it's been a good idea to make a coach and a GM? Like, Pat Riley? Like when's the last time that was a good idea? Because, like, you have to be a special breed of person to make that work. And too many NBA teams, for some reason, didn't realize that. And they were giving, like, it didn't work. It didn't even work for Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers, it didn't work for.
I mean, it didn't burn him too badly, though.
So what?
I mean, it wasn't like it was a dumpster fire that entire time or anything.
No, it wasn't. Wait, for who?
We're talking Rivers.
It wasn't a dumpster. It wasn't a dumpster fire the entire time. But did they win a championship? No. Did they have the capabilities of winning a championship? Yes. So, like, it didn't work in that degree, right, for a championship contender team, or a so-called, according to you, Calvin. But we'll get back to that in a second. They like it never worked. Pat Riley, it worked. Phil Jackson, it didn't work because he was only the GM when it was in New York. And that obviously was a train wreck. What do you call them?
He did get poor things.
What do you call them? Posse. He said like that didn't work. And then outside of that, Stan Van Gundy there. Stan Van Gundy in Detroit, Thibodeau in Minnesota. Like it doesn't work. You have to be top tier apparently for it to work. Like Pat Riley, Phil Jackson. Like for some reason,
I think part of the problem though with it, like if we're gonna be like why it doesn't tend to work, is just like part of the issue with being a head coach and the GM is like to really be a good GM, even if you like have a relationship with players, you can't have like that super close relationship that like or like a relationship as close as like a coach really needs to have to be as effective as they can. And so like at a certain point, being good at one would require you to almost require you to be worse at the other, or like being a good GM. Like let me put it this way: if Brad Stevens was also had to do what Danny Ainge did and did everything Danny Ainge does, his entire team would hate him.
Very true. Danny Ainge does not seem like a likable guy for the long term. In the short term, he's like, oh, I'm glad you're on my team. Then he'll toss you to the dogs because you're done with your worth. Well, that's very true.
He's just been an asshole his entire life.
I mean, yeah. That's probably why he was playing golf with Michael Jordan, you know what I mean? But during NBA Finals games, because they like got along, because they're both the same kind of people.
Kareem broke his jaw. Like,
yeah, it's very true. Like, it's just like, I don't know. It's hard to judge it's hard to judge coaches who are also GMs and their like coaching tenure during that time because of just like how much work it probably is. But you can't blame them because get your money. You know what I mean? If they're gonna pay you more to do both, you're gonna do it. You know what I mean? But it's just a tough thing to gauge somebody's coaching during that time because a lot of times you look, it does not actually like. If you look at a coach's coaching tenure while they're actually GMing, it does not like usually showcase the exact same results as when they're just coaching and not GMing.